What's going on, guys? It's Ben. Hey, thanks for checking out my channel once again. If you are not a subscriber currently, please hit the subscription button down below. I would truly appreciate you. And if you enjoy the content in the video, definitely smash that like button at the end, or any of my videos for that matter. So today, by specific request, we're going to be doing a video on contracts, recruiting contracts specifically. Someone requested this in the comments yesterday, and I know that it's a really important topic, and a lot of you are probably wondering about how you set up a recruiting contract and how you actually execute it with your clients, what you need in it, what sort of verbiage it needs to be in there, what sort of clauses, what protects you, what's to your advantage, what's to your disadvantage. These are really important things because ultimately this contract is what you have to stand on at the end of the day when you hire an employee for a client. So we're going to go screen share. We're going to go into my laptop. I'm going to show you two separate contracts. I'm going to show you one direct hire contract, and then I'm going to show you also a contract worker contract. So like someone that's temp to hire or contract to hire, however you want to word it. It's worded many different ways, but one will be a direct hire, one will be a contract. And then you can kind of take a look. You can basically rip off exactly what's in it. You can use the verbiage, but obviously I'm going to be showing you my specific contracts, not with any client names or anything like that, but just the general clauses and verbiage that are in there. I'd like to preface this by letting you know that these are the exact contracts that I've executed with clients to do 136,000 last year in 2018 in 6 months. So these contracts work. These are exactly what I've abided by with my clients, and they have all the clauses and everything necessary for you to operate. There are a few things that may be missing or a few things that I might be adding soon to these contracts. So by no means are these like legal advice contracts, or am I giving you like the absolute bread and butter winner contracts. So don't take these to the bank. Read them out yourself. Just use them for informational purposes only. I'm not going to be saying these contracts are 100% valid and will stand up anywhere, because I'm not going to stand behind that. So they've worked for me. They're my contracts, but I will show you what they look like. You can structure yours out how they need to be, because your clients might even request specific clauses in their contracts and things like that. So without further ado, let's go right into my computer, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Alright guys, so we're inside my computer right now, and as you can see, I have two contracts pulled up on the screen. One is a temporary placement or contract worker contract. The other is a direct hire contract. So I'm going to go through both of them, just give you the clauses, give you the basic elements of each, and then, just kind of lay them all out and what's necessary and what's not necessary. And then I can, maybe provide you with a way to get a hold of these once we're done. But let's go right into the direct hire contract. So this is the contract that I utilize specifically. I've removed and redacted all names and specifics and anything that would dox me. But this is your basic direct hire contract. So you're going to want to put your logo up top, put a logo somewhere in the corner, just throw it up there. It's very professional. Your company name and the client's name, and then put your name, and then put your title. So in many videos, I've obviously told you before that I'm a big fan of either principal, founder, or president. I utilize president, so that's what my contracts say. But you can go your own style on that. So I specifically and explicitly put agreement to direct hire via agency. This just puts everybody on the same page, that they know that this contract is a direct hire contract, between your agency and their company. So the basics of the agreement are kind of laid out in the first paragraph. The agreement constitutes the relationships and commitments between insert your company name, and then create a parenthesis saying agency and their company name, and then create a parenthesis saying the client. So throughout the rest of the contract, you can refer to the agency and the client, and they'll know via this paragraph who's who. Does that make sense? So you can basically just title your, who the company is and who the client is, and then they'll know from then on forward when you refer to things like, later on here, client, they'll know exactly that refers to the client. So anyways, the agency is tasked with sourcing, vetting, prioritizing, and organizing candidates per the client's need. The client may request specific conditions be met by candidates before they are screened, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read this through and through. I'm just going to go through it piece by piece. So this just kind of outlines basically what we're going to be doing and what we will do in general for them. And then we go into specifics. So I add here that the client will have a minimum of 3 weeks after we send them a candidate to tell us whether or not they're going to hire that candidate so that we can utilize them for another client if we have client that needs them. I have in here that once they've chosen a specific candidate, the client themselves must notify us first prior to notifying the actual, this is wrong, I should say candidate, prior to notifying the candidate of their selection for hire. And the rate of pay must be disclosed via email in written format to the agency so that we can record that and have that on file. This is extremely important. You need to know, who's getting hired, what their start date is, and what their exact rate of pay is. If you're on 10% terms, you're going to need to calculate that. So you need to record when they started and their pay rate, because these things are going to come back later on because you're going to be on terms that you need to record and set so you know when to invoice. And we'll go over invoicing in a separate video. But then I explain the fee structure here. So as per staffing norms, the client will pay for services rendered, and I explain what all we're doing, for a fee of no less than 10% of the gross estimated annual earnings of the employee. That's an important statement. So the gross estimated annual earnings of the employee. This just means their annual salary, or if this person is hourly, most likely you're hiring hourly people. You're going to basically take their hourly rate, then you're going to mark that times 160 hours a month, which is a 40-hour work week. Then you're going to times that by 12 to create the entire year. So there's 2,080 hours in a year. And I give an example here. If someone's being paid $20 an hour, this would equate to a $41,600 salary, and 10% of that would be basically $4,100. And I show that here. So I lay this out in a simple example of them, so we're all on the exact same page as far as what the fee is going to look like. So there's no surprises, there's no guessing at what someone's going to pay. If you hire someone at $18 an hour, their fee is going to be $3,456 exactly. So they should know that. They should be able to do the math just like you. Guarantee clause. This is extremely important. So the agency is going to guarantee its candidate. This is a very big selling point when you first start an agency and you want to grab clients, and ongoing. You're always going to want to have a guarantee period. Everybody does. It just matters how long it is. So for general labor and more menial tasks, I set up a 30-day guarantee clause, or at least that's where I start negotiating. If they push me up to 60, I might try to meet them in the middle. If somebody wants to do business only on a 90-day, well, I just do the numbers and see if it's worth it, and see if the candidate's most likely to stay around for that long, and then I'll give them that. So this is negotiable, but guarantee clause lets them know that if the candidate quits their employment, so I say if the candidate leaves, vacates, or otherwise quits their employment with the client, the agency will backfill the position with another equally qualified candidate within a reasonable time frame. So this is extremely important. Why? Because you're not saying refund, you're saying backfill. You're not giving any money back, you're giving them another candidate. So if you're hearing me clearly, how much cheaper is it to find them another candidate rather than just give them back $4,100? A lot cheaper. So every single time you're always going to want to guarantee by way of backfilling. This is the last clause I have in here. It's the candidate engagement and ownership clause. So basically this means who finds the candidate first and who gets the fee. So basically when you set up an agreement with a client, you're going to be searching on their behalf for candidates, and you're going to start that right away as soon as this is signed. Now, a candidate could be ignorant and talk to you and engage with you, and you could submit the resume, and then 2 days later, since they haven't heard back, they go on their website of the actual client and they apply online. Some clients believe that that means, oh, they're already applying with us. Sorry, we can't pay you a fee. No, no, no. The candidate engagement ownership clause negates all of that. So this basically just says that as soon as we engage with a candidate, meaning talk to them via phone, email, if they apply to one of our ads we put up on Craigslist, Indeed, whatever it might be, if they send us a text message, whatever it might be, an email, anything, we own that candidate. We have engaged with them. We are representing them. And at that point forward, they are a billable candidate for us, meaning we receive the fee if you decide to hire them. This is extremely important to have this in your contract, because otherwise you're essentially giving away your rights so that the client can basically say anything they want and say, well, it's not in the contract, doesn't matter. We started talking to the guy, he wants to work with us, we're hiring him. So I put in here furthermore, that this clause, if necessary, is to be qualified by either party, agency or client, to just provide genuine proof or evidence. So you can use emails, text messages, things like that. And if the matter is not to be settled personally between the client and the agency, then it can go to, I live in Washington, so I set the Washington State Arbitration Association. You would just want to put whatever your state's arbitration association is, because you would basically move this upward and have an arbitration about it. They would clearly see that this is in the contract and that you win out. At the bottom here, at the end, you're going to want signatures, of course. None of this is valid unless it's signed, so you can't just send them this and have this be valid. The agency needs to sign it, meaning you need to sign it, and the client needs to sign it. Again, I've said about 10 times in my videos that every single person starting a recruiting agency should utilize DocuSign. You're all going to be working virtually. Nobody wants to take this paperwork over to the client and make them sign it, or have them sign it and you sign it, or print it off and scan it and all that BS. Basically, you utilize DocuSign. It allows you to just pop a signature icon right in here for the client, pop one in here for you. You sign it. It sends an electronic signature over to them. They sign it, and bada bing, bada boom, you're done. You got your direct hire agreement in place, and you can go to town, and that's that. So let's pop out of that one. Let's go into the temporary hire contract. So this is much more simplistic. It's extremely straightforward. Again, I've redacted everything. So you put your company name in here, and then I title it Temporary Placement Service Terms Agreement with, put in the client name. I say something like, thank you for the opportunity to provide staffing services to your company. The following terms are below. How contract staffing works, these are other videos we can do, but, you're basically going to be paying the employee a certain rate, and then you're going to be billing the company a bill rate for providing that employee. So this employee will work directly under you as a W-2 employee. That's how contract staffing works. And you will then be billing the company, hopefully, a really good margin. So maybe hire somebody at $15 an hour and bill the company at $28 an hour. That's a whole other video, but you need to do the math on your bill rate and make sure that you're covering your burden and all those sorts of things, and making profit, most importantly. So this paragraph basically explains, how we're going to do that. So the bill rate's going to include their salary and all their taxes and everything related to what they'll need. Acknowledgments, this is just a simple statement, basically kind of reiterating what's already been said. I've taken this from a different contract and utilized it. So, I can't tell you, I'm not a lawyer, exactly what the acknowledgments clause is about, but it just kind of states exactly what this states here. Overtime clause. So the overtime clause says that, please note that overtime will be billed at 1.5 times the bill rate for any hours worked consistent with where I live, Washington State's overtime regulations, Monday through Sunday. So you can just rip this off and utilize this exactly, but input your state. And then conversion. So the conversion clause, this basically is negotiable. So you're always going to be in negotiation when you set up a contract to hire type of agreement. So my conversion contract for this particular client that I was working with, stated that actually after 480 hours or 3 months worked, whichever came first, the employee may be brought on to your company in a permanent status, meaning they can convert them, they can take them as a full-time employee, they can start paying them, and they would then be off your books and not making you any more profit. This is actually bad. You would rather have contract employees working for you forever, because they're basically just residual income for free. The way I mark up my guys, they're making, a margin. I make a huge margin on every single contract employee that I have. So, some people like to set up 3 months conversion terms. The best way to do it is probably 6 months. And the most agreeable terms are 6 months usually. So then we look forward to working with you. If you have any questions regarding this, you can contact me at my phone number or my email. And then this agreement is signed and bonded via DocuSign. And then, of course, again, get DocuSign. It's $300 a year. Put their signatures here. You sign it electronically. So that's the contract hire contract, and this is the direct hire contract. Both of these contracts I utilize with clients currently. Pretty much the exact verbiage is in them, and I've been using them for all my clients. And like I said, in 2018, I did $136,000 in 6 months just using these contracts alone. This is just enough to get you up and running. So if you think that you're, needing a lawyer for $1,000, $2,000 to build you out a whole contract structure and stuff, you're wrong. But these are the ones I use. So I will pop out and I'll see you guys on the other side. All right. All right, guys. So I hope that wasn't like the most boring video you've ever watched, but contracts are boring, but they're important. So I thought I'd dig deep and kind of give you my contract hire contract and my direct hire contract. So that's what I use. That's what I've utilized all last year in 2018, and I'm still using currently now. Obviously, I've redacted a bunch of stuff, but that's the exact contracts that I've used to generate over 136K when I first started in the first 6 months and ongoing now through 2019. So I would just, take those for what they are. Again, as a caveat, this is not professional legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. I did not have a lawyer draw these up. So just for your information, don't think that anything is ironclad. I just want to give you an example of what you can use to write up a contract and make it pretty sturdy enough that you can actually, hold up if you have a disagreement or if you have some certain kind of hang up with a client or a candidate, that you need to decipher. So just as a side note, contracts are only signed with clients. You don't necessarily need to sign contracts with candidates. There are certain things that you can do with candidates, like the guarantee clause that I put about ownership and engagement. You can have a candidate sign like an ownership contract with you, saying like, we call it right to represent or consent to represent, meaning your agency has the consent to represent them, so that when you approach the company and they say, well, we found them first or something, you can actually, go back and say, nope, we have consent to represent right here. So those are a couple things. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. I know that was boring enough, so I'll spare you now. I'll catch you all on Sunday. I hope you're having an awesome weekend, and I hope that was valuable. Comment in the comment section if that was valuable. Please let me know, and I will catch you all on Sunday. All right, take care.